So for this lesson, I'm going to go ahead and walk you guys through the steps for literal equations. I do apologize if my voice is like low. I'm pretty sure I might have strep throat, so I'm just doing my best here to give you guys a video to work off of. So the first step that I'm going to have you guys do is make sure that you always box the variable that you're solving for. Then you're going to use inverse, or what we call opposite operations, to get rid of the other term. Then finally, you're going to divide by what's inside the box. So let's review yesterday for what we would have done for solving for y. So the first step would be to box the letter y in this situation. So I'm going to draw my train tracks and I'm going to work on getting the letter y by itself. So outside the box I have this positive 5x. Well, the opposite of positive 5x, the inverse of it, is negative 5x. And what I do to one side, I have to do to the other. So this is where a lot of people get stuck with solving for y. You bring down the 2y, and then you cannot take away negative 5x from negative 10 because they're not like terms. So you're just going to drop the negative 5x and bring the negative 10 behind it, like so. So then you're going to divide everything by what's inside the box. So inside the box is 2. So I'm going to divide it by 2. I'm going to do the same thing here and the same thing on this term as well. So that cancels out the 2, and that leaves you with y is equal to negative 5 over 2, or negative 5 halves of x, and negative 10 over 2, which is negative 5. And there is my equation solved for y. So my slope in this situation is negative 5 over 2, and my y-intercept is negative 5. Alright, so now we're on to literal equations, and let's see how that changes for different letters. So let's take a look at number 2. So on number 2, this time I'm going to solve for the letter g. Well, I'm going to go ahead and put it in a box and draw my train tracks. So outside of this box, I have this 3f. The opposite of positive 3f, the inverse, is negative 3f. And I'm going to do the same thing on the opposite side. 3f's on the left cancel. And I'm going to bring down this 2g. So I'm getting closer to getting it by itself. K and negative 3f are not like terms, so I'm going to bring the negative 3f down and bring this positive k behind it, like so. Then I'm going to divide, since I got to get that g by itself. Right now it's being multiplied by 2. The opposite of multiplying by 2 is dividing by 2. And I'm going to do the same thing for the other 2 as well. Now here's where you need to be careful. There's an invisible 1 that's lurking in front of that k. So when it comes time to divide everything, you divide negative 3 halves for f and 1 halves for k. And I would just keep it simple and leave it as a fraction. I would not try to change it to decimals. I mean, you could if you want to, but I wouldn't recommend it. And this is the end result. Alright, I'm going to put a star on number 3. This one is one that comes up pretty often on tests. So on this situation, I want to solve for the letter b, but I have a problem. There's a fraction. So if you guys remember from last week, we can get rid of a fraction by multiplying by the denominator. So in this situation, I'm going to multiply by 2 to get rid of that 2 at the bottom. So I'm doing the inverse of dividing by 2, which is multiplying by 2. So those 2's on the right cancel out, and you're left with BH on the right side. And on the left side, I have 2 multiplied by A. Well, I still got to get that letter B by itself, but right now it's being multiplied by H. Well, the opposite of multiplying by H is dividing by H. So I'm going to divide both sides by H. And that leaves me with the letter B that I need to get by itself, and it's equal to 2A over H. And because I'm kind of particular about my equations, I'm going to put the B in the front and the 2A over H in the back. Okay. That's 2 problems. This one, number 4, is another one that comes up pretty often on STAR and on tests. So I want to solve for the letter R. And it's weird because it's all clumped together, 4 pi and R. I'm going to box that letter R right there. But just remember, 4 pi and R, there are no symbols in between. So it's assumed that we're multiplying everything. So the opposite of multiplying by 4 pi is dividing by 4 pi. So I'm going to divide everything by 4 pi on the right, and what I do to one side, I got to do to the other on the left. So that leaves me with just the letter R. So I really just only did it in one step. So it gets you H over 4 pi. And because, again, I'm particular about this, I'm going to put the R in front, and I got H over 4 pi in the back. All right, and here's our challenge question of the day, solving for the letter W. Okay, this one is very intimidating because of the way it's set up. It's a fraction, and the W is not clumped together with the G and E. So let's see what happens here. So I'm going to put that W in a box. Well, I'm going to use the same tip that I did up here. I'm going to get rid of the fraction by multiplying by the denominator. So I'm going to multiply by M and do the same thing on this side as well. So that gives me MS is equal to W minus GE. Alright, so that cleans it up a little bit, and it makes our lives a lot easier because now what we're going to do is we're going to box the W, and then we got to get rid of that negative GE outside the box because remember, we're trying to get W by itself. So the opposite of negative GE is positive GE. So I'm going to add GE to cancel it. But what I do to one side, I got to do to the other. So that cancels out. And we're left with W is equal to, and MS, G, and E, they're not like terms. So we're going to start by writing the MS first and the positive GE after. And then because, like I said, I'm particular, I like my variable to come first that I'm isolating. I got W is equal to MS plus GE. Okay. Hopefully that helps you guys out a little bit. I'm sorry I'm not there again. Like I said, I think I'm contagious. So I'm hoping to be back by tomorrow. As far as you guys turning in late work and stuff like that, just keep emailing me and I'll update the grades as I get them. Okay. Thank you.